Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, joining us live now. APL, what was it like in there? I can hear a little bit of an echo here with the shot. Yeah, we can hear an echo here, so we're going to have to mute something. Yeah, okay, there we go. We can fix it on our end. Don't worry about it, Congresswoman. So I will speak slowly. What was it like in the hearing room? How do you think Pete Hegseth did today?
I was there, and the reason I wanted to go, Benny, is because not only am I a veteran, but I'm a member of Congress, and these crazy smear campaigns, mind you, this is unfortunately nothing new on the Hill or in Washington, D.C. If you are a conservative, if you are male, specifically if you are a white male, it seems that all the allegations that are constantly being thrown by the left and the radical left that's hijacked Democrats is really that you are either an adulterer, a womanizer, an alcoholic, all of these quiet accusations that come forward from unnamed sources. And so I saw this happening to Pete, and then I would say one of the more crazy accusations was that he was somehow a white supremacist because he had the Jerusalem cross tattooed on him, which I would then respond, if Pete Hegseth is such a white nationalist, why is it that Jimmy Carter's funeral pamphlet had the same cross, or why is it that it's on the floor of churches? And so I wanted to show my support for him, and of course, just as I had suspected, as soon as we got in, it hadn't even been 5 minutes into the opening where he was really asked to address some of those false accusations. So I think that he actually did well. I think Pete, he'd mentioned that he was forged and that it really prepared him for this position. And I would agree, a lot of what these senators were looking for, specifically those that have been really campaigning and putting on their social medias messaging against Hegseth because he's a Trump appointment for SecDef, he was able to debunk and really not give them the sound bites that they were looking for. So very happy with his performance. But it's unfortunate, I have a little boy and I would never want him to go through that just because of his political ideologies.
Yeah, I loved him saying, I'm a Christian, I'm saved by faith, everybody needs redemption and forgiveness, I have a beautiful family, I have a beautiful wife. And then the other senators got what was coming to them with Mark Wayne Mullen saying, y'all coming after this guy for drinking too much and for cheating on his wife? Like, who are you? Have you ever looked in the mirror? What's your message to the Democrats, specifically the female Democrats that were so vicious and so vile against Pete Hegseth in this hearing?
They kept bringing up the fact, and of course this was taken out of context, but they kept bringing up the fact that Pete was allegedly saying that women shouldn't serve in the military. They were implying it, right? The fact is that could not be farther from the truth. I've actually been talking with Pete throughout this process. Pete knows I'm a not a combat veteran, but he knows I'm a veteran. And he also too, that was a point of discussion, and part of the reason why I was vocally there to support him is because he realized they were going to try to attack him with that. But I want to kind of get into that topic of discussion. So first of all, the Senate actually had passed in the NDAA, or tried to send it back to the House, a measure that would actually, and this was pushed by Senate Democrats, that would actually cause women to have to register for the draft. And so it's interesting, they keep advocating that women should be put on the front lines. And I would actually say, as a member of the military, there are certain rules that the military that women serve in the military, and they're great rules. But I would be very careful, and I think that this should be brought up with the Trump administration, on putting women specifically into some of these positions that would not just hurt the women, but also result in, I think, jeopardizing the mission of the entire team. So one thing that people don't discuss is there was a study done, and I want to try to find that study for you, Betty, so that you can see it. But it addressed specifically that when women were in crisis and men saw that men would naturally respond to get that woman out of crisis. Now, that's the right thing for men to do. I think that whole idea of men being defenders, I think that, and I would applaud that. I think that that's the natural instinct for most men. But when you have women that are in combat zones and then they're subjected to that, it can also result in other people getting killed. And so I don't think women should have to be forced to register for the draft. And I definitely think women serve an incredible role in the military, but I would not ever advocate for women being put directly into harm's way. And it's unfortunate that people like myself can say that, but if Pete Hegseth says it because of his packaging, then he's somehow anti-woman. And so, again, these same senators are advocating for men and women's sports that literally beat up women, but if Pete Hegseth stands up for women, he's somehow anti-woman, which makes no sense. So I'm glad that he really was able to refute that and correct that. But again, it's just unfortunately the game of the political landscape.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, okay. I just want to, I'm just getting a message right now. Okay, all right, good. For my producers. Quickly here, Bill Clinton is somebody who we know is an absolute monster. We know that Bill Clinton is himself a predator and somebody who cheated on his wife time and time and time again. Yet Tim Kaine, who had the harshest critique of Pete Hegseth today, ran with Hillary Clinton for president to put Bill Clinton back in the White House. The guy who was on the Lolita Express 27 different times. You've talked about it a little bit, the Epstein list on this program. Just your takeaway on sort of the egregious fraudulence of these.
I think a lot of people saw Kaine's questioning. Remember, a lot of people don't even know who Kaine is. I think when you bring up the fact that he ran with Hillary Clinton, a lot of people don't know that. But when you see how nasty he was and that he brought up, I mean, he literally made false allegations against Hegseth, of which some of the senators, to their credit, said, here's a list of people that have refuted that, or these are false claims. But it just goes to show that they actually can't, and they truly don't understand the problems that exist with the Department of Defense. Pete, a lot of what he was highlighting, and I wish the media would cover more, is the nature and culture in the military that's contributed to the decline in enlistment, the decline in lethality, and really what the military should get back, instead of pushing woke ideologies, this idea that somehow your taxpayer dollars should be forced to pay for transitioning members, which should be the exact opposite with the DoD. He was addressing how to fix the core problem and to make our country respected and really our military feared again on the world stage, which is essentially the whole idea of peace through strength. But they didn't want to discuss that. They wanted to go with very personal, nasty attacks. And so I would say that not only does it undermine Kaine's credibility as a senator, but I'm definitely glad that Hillary Clinton lost, because I couldn't imagine someone in that position of power as vice president. Him and JD Vance are two very, very different candidates for office. And now, peace, we're excited about that.
Yeah. It's amazing when given an opportunity to talk, who turns out to actually be the creepy weirdo obsessed with somebody else's sex life. It's Tim Kaine. And Pete Hegseth coming off great in this hearing, with the exception of a couple of disruptions, which I think I saw you say that these protesters were invited in, they were allowed to stay, and they were invited by Democrats to sit there and disrupt the hearing. Were you near them? Did you see this?
I was actually there at the very beginning for a couple hours, and then I came back towards the end because we had to go vote. But you actually, I think in that clip that's going viral of the Code Pink people, which were the ones that were holding those signs, I was actually standing off, and so you can see me there. They were trying to talk to you. You can see the back of me, actually. I'm turned away in that photo. But what's interesting is, I'm right there. Those people actually were sitting in some of these Senate designated guest seats. And so it's interesting who gave them tickets, but then also too, I had actually brought in a poster that my staffer had placed in the back that actually had Elizabeth Warren's college application that checked her as being Native American. And they would not allow me to bring that in. And yet these people were literally allowed to stand there, hold up the signs, keep it up. And so very interesting. They wouldn't let me hold my poster, which my poster was way better, but they allowed these crazy, no Christian jihad. I mean, my goodness, these people were screaming, we want peace in the Middle East, which who doesn't want peace? But then they're also advocating against Pete Hegseth and then invited in by senators to hold signs and disrupt. So the whole thing, as you can see, was political propaganda. The media also didn't cover the fact that there was over 500 veterans. Unless it was a conservative outlet, they didn't want to cover that. There was Navy SEALs, there was Green Berets, there was female veterans in there supporting Hegseth, but they didn't want to cover that. They wanted to cover the crazies.
I know we're up against a hard out, but you were going to hold up Elizabeth Warren's Native American tick of the box?
Had posted it and I sent it to my team. I said, please print this, let's get it. And then, the staff from the president's team was joking around about my sign being, they confiscated it, which is kind of funny, but they allowed the crazy code people. So next time what I'm doing is I'm just going to fold it up, put it in my purse, and then I'll just stand next to the
In closing here, you noted how many combat veterans were there. You yourself, a veteran. Why do veterans love and support Pete so much? Take it away.
Yeah, look, I'm not a combat veteran, but I did serve in times of combat. And what I will tell you is that whether or not you served in combat, the true marker of a good leader is one that not only takes into account the impacts of their decision throughout every rank, whether it's officer or enlisted, but specifically with Pete Hegseth, he would be one of the few Secretary of Defenses that has actually served in combat and understands the true impact of his decision-making process and how really it does come down to life and death. You know, what was interesting is during his entire defense of himself, and really that's what it was, trying to get his perspective and I think what he envisioned for the U.S. military out there amidst the smear campaign that some of these senators were launching, is that he wants to get back to the strong culture that the military represents. I served under both Obama and Trump when I was in the military, Benny. And what I can tell you is I don't remember a time of it being political. Now it seems like if you are in the military, you're only given higher ranks if you are left-leaning and pushing a very pro-Marxist ideology. And that cannot exist in a true free country, and then also too in a military that's strong. And so I really look forward to his confirmation. We did hear that he does have the votes. It's terrible that he had to go through the process, but Pete's a great guy, a family man, 7 kids, and his beautiful wife was there supporting him. So we're happy that he really did well under fire, metaphorically, and we look forward to his confirmation.
Oh, that's awesome. I know you have to go, but he has the votes. That's what you've been told. Mark Wayne Mullen told us that a couple minutes ago.
Leaving, I also heard Senator Scott saying that he has the votes as well. And so I just implore people to listen to his arguments. Don't look at the smears, because we've all been smeared. Even you have, Benny. And I think that that's unfortunately the name of the game. So part of the job.
Yeah. On a constant, daily, hour by hour basis. And it's like, dude, if nobody is attacking you, then well, you're not doing anything right. I mean, you gotta buckle up, because this is war. This is actually war, and we are thankful that there are war fighters that support Pete. You're one of them, and we'd have a better Congress, I think, if more people that served in our military actually served in Congress. You're one of those excellent people. Everybody needs to follow Anna Paulina Luna right here, and buy her Maxim magazine. Something I've never said on this
Thanks,
program.
Benny.
Yes. Godspeed, Congresswoman.